So I would like to show you this book because in my opinion it well represents the great writing skills of Andrew Soltis. And I will show you this, but is in the beginning something that it's very interesting in my opinion. He said the following things, no? Bobby Fischer never won a super tournament, and the term super tournament has no precise meaning, but generally comes to mean a round robin with classical time controls. Okay? And in this case, recent years are the Sinquefield Cup, Norway Chess, Weekend Z, and the Gashimov Memorial are synonymous of super tournament. Garry Kasparov won outright or tied for fourth place in 35 super tournaments in his nearly 30 years career. Okay? But Magnus Carlsen won 40 tournaments plus another 14 super speed tournament before he was 30. So the question is, what makes Carlsen different? And here the answer that Soltis gives is very interesting in my opinion. The simplest answer is that he played an extraordinary amount of chess and did it long before he was a master. One online database, chessgame.com, contains 1000 games he played before he was 17. In contrast, Kasparov played his 1000 game when he was 27 and had already been world champion for 5 years, according to the same source. Okay? And here it says, of course, large numbers of games, even of famous players, typically missing from databases, especially in their early years. But the 1000th game of Fabiano Caruana, preserved by chessgame.com, came after he had been competing in tournaments for 16 years. Carlsen did it in half the time. And that's very interesting. And then he starts the book telling us about pliability. Perhaps the most important is the ability to judge which positions are easier to play than others. And here he shows a game that I want to show you. It's Carlsen against Vasily Ivanchuk in Sao Paulo 2011. So Carlsen is white and he plays d4. By the way, these are the famous Carlsen chess pieces, okay? Knight f6, c4, e6, knight c3, bishop b4, knight f3, b6, queen c2, bishop b7, e3, a takes e3, queen takes e3, knight e4, queen c2, f5. So this is a very interesting kind of Ninso-Indian, because here is called Ninso-Indian 3 knights variation, e21, but this f5 especially makes you think that it is a kind of Dutch. g3, knight f6, very interesting, bishop h3, castle, a5, rook d1, queen e8, d5, knight a6, bishop f4, and now there is e takes d5, bishop takes f5, d takes c4, and of course knight g5. Why this move is good? Because is really attacking there with everything. Of course there is also an attack here that is protected by this, and notice that this is the typical weakness that you have in the Dutch when you play f5. This diagonal b3 and c4 is generally used to attack the enemy king. Okay, so let's see, after knight g5, black played queen h5, and now I would like you guys to pause the video and try to guess white's next move, because it's a very interesting move. So pause the video and try to find out what white played. White played rook takes d7. Boom. Amazing move, right? So why rook takes d7, he cannot take here? Because that's the question, right? Why he cannot take there? So try to pause and guess why. Okay, so I hope you pause the video, because if black takes on d7, the risk is that this gets trapped, and probably you don't want that. For example, it could be this, check, goes here. Now if he goes back and this goes here, check, takes, and then I don't know, you guys can go back, but also in this case the situation is bad for black, and notice also that they can take here. I think it's a good position for white, if I got it right. Eventually please check it with an engine or do your own analysis and let me know, okay? Now I pause and go back. Okay, I think I put the pieces back in the right place. After rook takes here, he went here, and now white played rook e7. That probably is not the best move. The best move probably was rook a d1, knight takes d7, rook takes d7. In this case probably white wins for the big activity on the 7th and the coordinated attack on the king, the enemy king. But he played rook e7, after which there was knight d5, bishop g4, and here there is queen g6. Obviously you cannot take this because there is checkmate, okay? So queen g6, knight f7, check, and also here probably there is something to see, right? After, if you take, what happens? Try to find it out. Let's see. Take the queen, take back, and take the rook, and the white have gained a piece. Right, yeah, very good, interesting. King g8, bishop f5, queen takes f5, queen takes f5, knight takes e7, knight h6, check, g takes h6, queen g4, knight g6, and bishop takes h6. So we are in this position, and we see a comment that for Grandmaster Soltis is revealing of how Carlsen operates. He says, his comment says, white certainly has the easier game. That's it. It is easier to find good moves for white than it is for black, and it is easier for black to err than for white. And this was borne out by the rest of the game. So what did black play? Rook f7, rook d1, rook e8, h4, knight c5, h5, bishop c8, queen takes e4, knight e5, queen h4. Now there is a mistake. The best move would be knight e6, but Ivanchuk played knight c6, after which followed rook d5. As you can see, you can go there, knight e6, trying to keep it, queen c4, aligning, knight c d8, and now there is queen g4, check, knight g7, and queen takes c8 concludes the game, and here resign. So here practically Soltis continues saying, now you might say, so what? Carlsen wasn't trying to evaluate the position in the diagram, he was just stating a personal opinion. Oh, but he was evaluating the position, he was judging it in terms of pliability. That is not a precise concept, there is no metric to quantify it, and computers cannot appreciate it. And this is really a true comment, because you see, I see that when you do, for example, a game on chess.com, after you have the review, and the review mark as a mistake some moves that are not a mistake. Why they are a mistake? Because the computer, for example, would give a checkmate in a certain number of moves, but a human doesn't see it. What a human does is try to play a move that totally destroy the other human in that position, right? And that's what you do. So here it says also, but in real life situation, pliability is as valid as more familiar ways of evaluating a position, such as piece mobility or pawn structure. Over and over in Carlsen's notes to his games, he said the move he chose was the one that led to an easier position, the more pleasant game and more comfortable one. Pliability was a crucial factor for him in deciding whether to take an irrevocable step, such as sacrificing a pawn or the exchange. Okay, and this is the game that I wanted to show you, but now there is also another game that I would love to show you, because I think it's kind of interesting, and this is just the introduction to the book, so that's why the book is really beautiful in my opinion, and of course I will make that in the next video. Thank you for watching. This was the beginning of 60 memorable games, and you can witness how good Soltis is as a writer, as a chess writer. Thank you very much for watching.